Children, I want to tell you a story. It happened long ago and far away. And children, this story is true. Now, to tell you this story, I have prepared a special picture. I have had to practice drawing this picture for a very long time. It was not easy. It required great skill. Now, it wasn't the easiest thing to draw. I want you to stare at it for a second. Yeah? Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. It's really hard to learn to do that. I want you to stare at it and see if you can figure out what it is. You just guess among yourselves. I'm not sure you got it. I see I may have to help you. You see, children, this is actually the nose. Yes, the nose of a great, big, ferocious, man-eating, absolutely terrifying, wicked bad, super scary, super hungry lion. Yes! Roar! Children, can you roar? Roar! Good job, children. Now, this line is a very important part of our story. But children, there are other parts to our story. You see, this is also the story of a man with a big heart. This man had a big heart for God. God, who is the King of the universe. He had a big, big heart for God. And because of that big heart for God, he listened to God. And he wanted to do what God told him to do. Now, also in our story, we have a guy who's not very wise. Now, it happened that this man was a king. He was so wealthy. He had lots and lots of everything. You can't name something he didn't have, at least if they had it back then. This king was really, really wealthy and really, really powerful and not very good at choosing the people to listen to. So one day, these three men came to see him. Now, these three men were sneaky. You know the type. These guys weren't good. All they thought about was themselves and how they could take care of themselves. They weren't really concerned about anyone else. All they cared about was them. They wanted to make sure that they were the most important people. So these three guys came to see him, and like I said, they were not good guys. And these guys had a really bad plan. You see, they said, we don't like Daniel. He's the man with the big, big heart for God. They said, no, we don't like him at all. In fact, we'd like to get rid of him. We don't like anybody listening to anybody but us. We want to be the most important people. Now, let's put some kind of funny hats on them, kids. They did live a long time ago, and, give them some special hats here. Yeah, there we go. All right. So here's our three guys. And they said, what can we do to get Daniel in trouble? Now, they knew something about Daniel, something that's very important. They knew, children, that every day in Daniel's house, which was just right down the road from where they were, they knew that absolutely every single day, Daniel would get down on his knees and he would talk to his God. And they didn't believe in God. They believed in things that weren't true. They believed in themselves, but they didn't believe in anything to do with God. So every day they could see Daniel in his window on his knees talking to God. And they said, well, we know what we need to do. We need to get the king to make a law. Nobody can do this. It'll be easy to catch Daniel because Daniel does this every single day. So they went to see the king, and the king, like I said, he wasn't very wise. He listened to him. So he made this really bad law. And this law said that absolutely everyone, not anybody could be excluded, could not bow down for 30 days to any man or any god except him. I mean, after all, he was the king, and he was very, very proud of that. So he made the law, he signed it, and there was this crazy rule in his kingdom that if the king ever made a law, the king couldn't change it. Again, not the smartest of rules, but that's the way it went. And if anyone did break this rule, the king said, he shall be thrown to the lions. Well, it didn't take them long to catch Daniel, and then you can just see them. They go running to the king. We've got something to tell you, king. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Daniel, why, he's on his knees to his God. And then the king's heart broke. Because you see, he actually liked Daniel. He respected him. But he was the king. He'd made the law. And then there was only one thing that could happen. Daniel had to be thrown in a terrible, dark place, in an awful place. The men came, and suddenly, suddenly, no, this is big. Suddenly, bigger, suddenly, Daniel found himself in a cage, a hole in the ground, not a cage, a hole in the ground with lions. And the lions were big and they were hungry. They weren't like, hey, it's time for dinner. They were like, hey, we haven't eaten in days. We want food. And they roared. Roar! Children, can you roar louder now? Roar! Good job. One more time, children. Roar! Great job, children. And there was nothing to do but leave him there. Now, the king went back to his palace, and now even he knew that he had messed up. All he could think about was, how could I have done this thing? Why didn't I think? What is wrong with me? And all night long, the king paced back and forth. He just walked and walked and walked because he just was upset. He was like, this is a terrible law. I made a terrible law. And now my friend Daniel is in trouble. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And early the next morning, the king ran as fast as he could. He ran. He ran to the place where Daniel was. And he opened up the hole and he said, Daniel! Daniel! Please, Daniel! Do you live? And then he heard the most wonderful sound. Daniel called out, do not worry, king. My God shut the mouths of the lions, and I am fine. Whoa! God rescued Daniel. Children, just like God rescued Daniel, God wants to rescue you. Maybe you feel like you're in the hole with the lions. Things are scary, things are bad, things are awful. You don't know what to do. You don't know to go to the right or to the left. You just don't know what to do. Don't worry, children. There is someone who knows what to do. His name is Jesus. You see, just like God rescued Daniel all those years ago, God wants to rescue you. And God's rescue plan for you and I is his son, Jesus Christ. Now, children, how can God rescue us? Well, first of all, we need to understand why we need a rescue. You see, we're just like all the characters in the story. We say bad things, we do bad things. It's the way we're born. And we have broken hearts. And no matter how hard we try to be good, we can't be good enough to get ourselves to God. Here's the good news, children. God knew we needed a rescue plan, so God sent Jesus. His son came to earth, he walked among us, and his son then did an amazing thing. Children, Jesus died on the cross for you and me. He took our punishment. He took our punishment. And if we ask God to forgive us and Jesus to rescue us, then Jesus will be our King and God will be our Father. And we'll have hope and love and kindness and joy and peace. And we don't have to be afraid. Children, Jesus is God's rescue plan for each one of us, just like he rescued Daniel all those years ago from those great, big, scary lions. He can rescue you and I today. Children, trust Jesus. Thank you.